Another episode of AI Talks.
Hey, my name's Akansha Malik and I'm from Melbourne.
Excellent Sami, it's Val here.
Hi, I'm Alan Smith.
Hi, I'm Amy.
Hey, I'm Tess. I come from Spain.
I'm Prasant from California.
大家好，我是卢建辉。
My name is Lance.
I'm Fakasi from Australia.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Marsman from the United States.
Hi, I'm Arpita Gupta from India.
Hi, I'm Matthew Renton from the USA.
I'm Joe Spizak from California.
Hi, Mehdi Ali Daoud from Ghana.
Hi, I'm Anna Falana.
Merhaba, ben Türkiye'den Daron Yönder.
Hi there.
Hi.
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 Hi. Hi.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening from wherever you are watching this live right now. Thanks for joining us on the Global AI Community channel. And as every week, we have a new guest speaker. And actually, Ali is not a new one. He already came in May one time, but we had some technical issues then. And now he's back. Welcome, Ali.
Thank you so much.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all good. Just going around in the lockdown and quarantine.
Yeah, everyone. Can you talk a little bit about yourself? Who are you? What do you do in your daily life? Where are you based?
Yeah, so I'm Ali Mustufa. I'm from Mumbai, and I'm a student, undergraduate student. Currently, I was in final year, but the exam postponed, so I've never graduated till now. Let's see when the exams happen and I graduate. But I have done diploma in information technology and currently pursuing bachelor's. I started learning machine learning when I was 16 years old, and from that moment, ML fascinated me. And I have been traveling around different parts of India, delivering sessions on machine learning and conducting workshops. So yeah, that's what I do on a daily basis.
Nice. So you're quite active in the community also.
Yeah.
Okay. So today you're going to talk about bias. For people who do not know what bias is, tell us, what is bias?
Yeah. So technically, bias are of two types. One is when you talk about an algorithm, there are a few factors we need to consider. And another one is technically the bias within us, the humans. So if you give me an option of choosing an ice cream, it might be you might give me flavors like chocolate or strawberry. Now, for me, chocolate is much better, okay? And I will choose chocolate every time. So I'm biased towards my flavor. Okay, I'm biased towards chocolate. And if I keep an event or my wedding, probably, I might give the ice cream of chocolate flavor, okay? To most of the people who like strawberry, that might be a biased approach, right? So in a very short I just did a small bias of providing a chocolate flavor to people who might like different flavors.
Yeah, cool. And as we know, bias can really change the way how AI models run. So it's dangerous also, especially if we are using data, for example, on gender or race or what so on. So it's something we need to really keep in mind. Not so long ago, we had another talk also about bias. But, it's really good to teach more people about what you need to prevent, and that's bias. So with this, Ali, I'm going to give you your platform. I'm going to share your screen. And with this, the word is yours.
Thank you so much. So let me get started. So yeah, my typical way of getting started is saying hello to everyone with a raising hand. I know I'm not able to see you, but yes, I'm able to see your comments. So just keep a eye in the comments. And I'm actually looking at the comments all the way around while we are talking. So I want you guys to interact with me whenever possible, and maybe drop a comment or drop a question. I will be happy to take that in while I'm talking. So about myself, I usually say that I build human networks, not the computer ones, because they are creepy and I don't like them, and they are also complex. So human networks, humans are very, you can say they are very flexible. You talk to them and you can actually connect with more and more humans. And I'm a Google certified educator, level 1 and a level 2, part of Intel Software Innovator Program, and also a Microsoft Launcher and Ambassador. I kind of I'm very active in community and I keep contributing wherever possible. So that's why you see so many names of companies out there. I love talking, and you might know that by the end of the session because I will be continuously talking and talking. Uh, I also love to click selfies, and this is one of my photo at in university where I was delivering a session. This is also one more, and there are plenty of them which I actually do on a daily basis. I started my journey when I was 17 years old, and have been so. Before we get to the point, I really want to give you the background because by looking at me, you might be thinking I'm just like 22. Yeah, I'm around. I'm currently 23. So you might think I don't have much of an experience in maybe the topic which I'm explaining, or maybe the underlying concept. So that's why a little of a background of what I have done till now. So I have helped a Google Crowdsource community in India to expand in 10 plus countries, and I've done that with my partner, Mohammad Nawazuddin. We have also presented ourselves at Neural IPs, NIPS earlier, so and in 2017 in Canada for Inclusive Images 2.0. So it was a paper presented by Google AI. We were the part of the community which sourced this campaign and ran it for a month across 3 4 countries and gathered a lot of data. And currently, I co-organize and a lot of events in Mumbai, where I live in India. And yeah, that's what I do. I also have a TEDx talk. If you are a student and if yeah, you are feeling down on morale, you can definitely go there and check it out. Okay, so let's get to the topic. The topic is bias. The bias in a very simple format, as I explained earlier, is you may be biased about an opinion, a political party, anything. And why it affects everything is because a personal bias can actually be very hazardous when you're working for a company, and that product might be used by millions of users, and it might create a lot of not so good experience and not so good image of the company. At the same time, hurting someone's sentiment is not the way forward, and there has been a lot of as and I will share a lot of examples and show you how it affects people. So our talk so technically bias is classified into two parts. Okay, one is the statistical part where we are not going to discuss that, and that is where you use programming tools to improve that. And one part is data sets, and data sets play a very very important role. So 50% data set, 50% of algorithm part. Okay, so we are not going to go technical into algorithms and everything, so we are going to discuss about the data part, the first part, and we are going to discuss about how we can crowdsource data to make sure that we don't have bias in it. Okay, so that's the overall talk about. So bias in real life, if you have seen a lot of Disney movies, or you have seen a lot of cartoon as a child, you might be watching a lot of biased things, and you might not be aware of it. Okay, and if you go there and if let's analyze one by one, and if you see this, when earlier I used to watch Cinderella as a very when I was like in first standard, second standard, what I saw was these are some of the conclusions, like outer beauty is what makes you special. Being thin and white makes more invisible and valuable and everything prevalent. So all the movies be that, and then weight determines your temper, your power in the society. And if you see the transformation of Disney movies after people have raised concerns, it's totally changed. So now it is more centered to empowering. It's showing not just that every time boy comes and saves the girl, but it's like they have gone through rules, they have updated that, and they have actually like now they have also even equated it to this level that the number of dialogues of the male character and the number of dialogues of the female character are equal. Okay, so this is quite this is only possible because of the people raising the doubts, raising the kind of behaviors. Obviously it was not intentional, we can say that. Okay, it is not intentional, they never intended to do that, but it happened. Okay, and now what to do? So they improve, right? And if you see current movies, you might be familiar with. Now it is quite equal. Okay. If you are in Indian and you are in India and you have watched Chota Bheem, it is one of the famous shows in India, which I personally also, saw and I grew up watching. And in that, the role of Chutki, so the girl name is Chutki and the boy name is Bhim. Okay, the role of Chutki is much more, it is not that prominent as Bhim, because Bhim is, very powerful. He eats laddus and then he fights everyone. And this was also analyzed by Indian audience, and they ran a hashtag. Okay, and they ran a hashtag called as Make Chutki Stronger. And in the subsequent episodes and the movies, what the directors did was they made Chutki actually the partner of Bhim. And it was even in quarantine. Actually, it happened again, where the same hashtag trended, saying "Make Chutki stronger." Okay, so when people see it, obviously, I'm not blaming the creators of the show. Maybe they might not have intended it that way, but it happened. Okay, these are some of the examples when I talk about movies or when I talk about entertainment, right? Now let's switch to some technicalities. Um, uh, one more, one more point, which I was reading this blog, and in that blog there was one point which says that the models and the systems which we create and train are a reflection of ourselves. So you might be having a model, for example, the model of Google, which gives you auto compose. So you're writing, something, and then it automatically suggests you a few things. So these models have been developed by a human being, and that human being might have an opinion, okay, or a team of human beings, and that team of human beings might have some opinions, or they might have some biases. And to make sure that so the statement clearly states that whatever you develop is nothing but a reflection of yourself. And you should definitely read this article. It's really awesome. Okay, so yeah, um, uh, you might be asking that yeah, it is not familiar with big companies. Companies like Google, Microsoft, and Facebook might not encounter bias, right? They are big companies. They have big systems in place, and they can monitor AI. They can regulate AI. But let me show you some example. A warning: images might contain some abusive words because they are, taken as screenshots. They are not my opinion, not the companies, but the opinions of people who have shared it on social media and different news sites, and I've taken all the materials from there. Okay, and some I have manually screenshotted at different occasions. So the first one was in 2015, when a man pointed out that Google Photos actually labeled his friend as gorilla. Now I might not need to tell you why, because it is like, if you understand the pain which or the mental you can say state which the guy was in, would have been in, because he is labeled as gorilla, that would be really terrifying. And Google's intention might not be that. Okay, obviously no one would make a product which might intentionally classify people as different animals. Okay, so when the investigation began, when Google actually took this into consideration, Google apologized, and they also had issued public notice. They even went on a trend to say that we have actually censored the word gorilla from searches, images, tags, and even Google Photos. So even they won't ever label anyone as gorilla, chimp, chimpanzee, monkey are also plot till today. Okay, and this is a statement which has been recorded by Google spokesperson after the event. And yeah, it is not intentional, but it happens, right? And if you talk about Google Photos, yes, it uses AI and ML at the back end to segregate your photos in different segments. Okay, so yeah, it happens. If you talk about Microsoft, Microsoft is no saint. Okay, so Microsoft Research actually launched a bot which was called as Tay. Okay, and they launched it on Twitter, and they were like, Tay is the all new modern kind of a bot. And if you see the description, they actually said that the AI with zero chill. Okay, that was in the description. And Microsoft Research was very well excited. They were like, "Oh my God, this is something awesome, and we will launch it on Twitter and etc." Again, warning: the image might contain some abusive words, so I apologize if you feel offended. So as soon as it landed on Twitter, okay, people started tweeting about it. People started, messaging it, and it was like you tweet today and they will reply back. And within 24 hours, within 24 hours, they went, from very cool to going to like full Nazi in less than 24 hours. And if you see the tweets, can I say that I'm shocked to meet you? Humans are super cool. So that was the initial tweets, okay. And after that, it was like Hitler was right. I hate Jews, and then I hate feminists, and then they all should, etc., etc., etc. But that's really crazy, right? And if you are putting something in production that's available to the world, okay, and it's not just about a set of people. Everyone on Twitter was able to access it. And the sudden action which Microsoft took was to make the profile private. And then after making the profile private, they actually removed the system directly. So they actually then automated the response by saying that Tay is not available for now. Maybe contact us later or something like that. But you can just sense the amount of danger. Again, not this just a tweet. You might be saying it's just a tweet, but if tomorrow it grows to something big, you might not be able to handle it again. So yeah, you might see Elon Musk also raising concerns every now and then, and a lot of people raising concerns. But yeah, it's not that danger. It's not that bad as well. Okay, so to clarify the point, but yeah. After that incident, the CEO of Microsoft, Satya Nadella, he said that they had a great influence on how Microsoft is approaching AI, and it has taught Microsoft, how to take responsibility and accountability. That okay, if something bad happened, okay, someone is accountable out there, right? It's not just the algorithm; it's the people who developed it, or who is accountable. Who should people reach out to in terms of if a self-driving cars incidentally hit someone and there's no one in the car, what happens then? Who is responsible for that? Is the owner of the car responsible? Is the guy who designs software responsible? Who's responsible in that case? So accountability is also one of the factors which was discussed on a very large scale at that time. And yeah, it has influenced by the word of CEO of Microsoft, it has influenced a lot of decisions internally. And if you talk about the most recent ones, like you might be telling me that, hey Ali, you're going back to 8 years back, you're going 5 years back. Talk about something which is recent, something which is July, okay, very recent. So you if you are an AI enthusiast or an ML enthusiast, you might have heard about GPT-3 and OpenAI, and you might have heard about how amazing that is, right? But you didn't really saw this one. So this is the head of Facebook AI. He actually posted some screenshots. Of how 3GPT could be biased. Now, to be very specific, this guy tried a lot of sentences with that word, and some of the sentences were biased. Okay, but at the same time, it is not acceptable if you are putting some biased thoughts for a specific word. And the creator of this website, okay, Sushant Kumar, he used the 3GPT model and he created this website. So he clarified that I have updated the change in the app, and then now OpenAI also has some kind of tweaking where I can tweak it so that it is more positive. Okay, but if you talk about releasing such kind of things in public domain, it really is a point of concern. Okay, and another one which is very recent is about Pulse, and Pulse was again it was an algorithm. It was a research, okay, a research study where you can uh, pass an image which is blurred, and then it will sample it, okay, and it will generate a result. Now, can you figure out what is wrong with this image? Now, on the left hand side is obviously Barack Obama, the president of the United States. And after sampling, they got a result like this. Can you tell me what is wrong with this image? Yeah, anyone? Okay, I will wait for someone to maybe add that in the chat. What's wrong with the image? There's something wrong with the image, okay? Now, what is wrong? If you could tell me, that could be really awesome. Okay. The something which is wrong is that Barack Obama is not that white. Okay, and after upsampling these images, most of the images returned white as an output. Okay, so that was actually converting the skin tone to white. Okay, and that was because so Jan Ligon, the tuning award winner, actually clarified or said that ML systems are biased when the data is biased. Okay? And this way, subsampling system makes everyone looks white because the network was pre-trained on a data set like Flixpage HQ, which mainly contains white people picked. Now, if you train the exact same system, exact same algorithm on a data set from Siegel, everyone will look African. Okay, and yeah, that is true to that's 100% true. I totally agree on this point that if you actually change the data set and keep the algorithm as it is, it will actually it will give you that output. Okay, but a lot of people didn't actually agree with Jan's opinion, and a lot of people still think that there is a lot more. So there is no denial that there's a lot more than the data bias, but data plays a very major role because as a researcher, as an individual, as a company, you might be collecting your data, and you might be working on specific research. But as an individual, as a me, students or people who are very having who are having very small labs, or people who cannot afford to make their own data sets, they will rely on the pre-made data set, and the bias will come with that, and it will create a very big impact. Okay, so to clarify the point, actually, there was a lot of debate on Twitter with the Yanling and Shumid, and it was also on Reddit, and people were actually having a lot of conversation. And my conclusion was it was not more about the system. It has become more like Google AI versus Facebook AI because both parties were exchanging punches here and there. Um, if I talk about the conclusion of the whole conversation which I saw on Twitter, it is more like there are two aspects of bias. Okay, one is statistical. That means algorithm. Okay, you change something in algorithm, you tweak it, you introduce some kind of method which can help you to maybe equalize the bias. And then there is one which is called as societal donor bias. Now we are discussing about this one, the second one. Okay, not the first one, because in the first one there is a lot of maths involved, there's a lot of theory involved, and there's a lot of a lot of things involved. Okay, in the second one, only data set and humans are involved. Okay, so when I talk about how the data set was collected, who is working on the system, okay, does this guy has a set of bias with him, or etc. So we are talking about society in general. We are talking about how humans behave in general. Okay, and how the data set is collected. So in terms of technicality, if I say you're working on a linear regression, okay, linear regression is not going to be biased because you are black or you're white, because you are in belong to a different race or you belong to a different caste. Linear regression works the way it works because it's math. Okay, it doesn't differentiate based on people. Okay, but if the data set is biased, okay, and you put the same linear regression model on the biased data, the output will be biased, right? So yes, there is algorithm bias and there is data set bias. That is societal tone of bias, and we are more discussing about that because that impacts a lot more people than the upper one. And we all know that if you are an individual and you're working with this model, what you would do is you will pick up a SOTA model and you will implement that for your organization. SOTA means state of the art model. Okay, so what you will do is, as an third party organization, or a small organization, you will just pick up SOTA models and you will try to implement that. Now, if the SOTA model is trained on a bias data set, that actually changes the whole scenario. Okay, so that's why it's very very important to discuss. It's very very important to kind of like bring in diverse data and talk about all this. Okay. Um, Personally, I believe the more the data, the more the bias, and specifically the data which is harvested through internet. Okay, so if you talk about harvesting through Twitter, okay, in India on a daily basis there are so much hateful campaign which are there. In US, if you see, there are so much of hateful campaigns which runs on Twitter specifically. And there are also positive ones. So again, I'm not denying. In both in all the countries, there are some negatives and some positives. Now, if you try to scrape data from that, okay, um, it's quite possible that your system that system you might end up being biased because what you're collecting from internet, okay, just going down and collecting from there, is having some degree of bias. And what if for example, party A has a lot of supporters than party B, then party A is going to be more biased again, and they might rule. Okay, they might rule the data business, and they might produce a lot of biased data, which party B can never override because party A has a lot of followers, and that is the problem with internet. Okay, so a lot of people. So I don't know if this would be a wrong thing, but or a right thing, but if you see Indians on YouTube. Recently, we had a campaign or a thing called as Binod. Okay, and what happened was a YouTube channel discussed about how how Indians go there and there and comment about different things. And one guy, his name was Binod, and he just wrote Binod as a comment, and it went viral. It went so viral that even people who are not Indians who are having YouTube channels out there across the world. People were going on their comment section. They were like Binod Dopi, and it was a hit. And actually, there was a lot of breakdown, and a lot of people were like, what? Where is Vinod? Okay, how does how and this is not my statement. My statements from YouTube again, and most of the times people were like, why is everyone commenting Vinod? Okay, in the comment section, and the answer was because there are a lot of Indians on internet and they have internet access and they know they have something viral going on in their country, so they're just commenting that on every YouTube channel. Simple as that. An example. Okay. So let me make it clear before I proceed more and I explain more things. Okay. Machine learning systems are a result of dataset plus model. So whatever dataset you're working on plus the model. Model actually has optimizations, regularizations, and then different techniques which we are not going to discuss. But yeah. So dataset we are talking about bias at this level. We're talking about the left hand side. Okay. Sorry. We're talking about the data set. Okay, and then plus the right model side. So bias in a model is a way different altogether, and it's a different distraction. Okay, so there are different types of raw function. There is an equalizer. There's a lot of things. Okay, and you can follow a lot of good people who are doing amazing research in that segment, and you can understand that conversation from there. Okay, now because I have worked with a lot with data sets, and I have had an experience of around 3 years working with crowdsourcing. So I feel I am eligible kind of to share my opinion around the bias on dataset level. Okay. Okay. So as I told you about the typical scenario of Indians on YouTube, right, where we kind of never leave anyone in that segment. If you talk about PewDiePie versus P series, it was a similar situation, okay, where we actually surpassed, we subscribe more YouTubers. T series is number one now, and that was all of a sudden, okay. And PewDiePie is like, he was there from so many years. But yeah, as people come on internet, people kind of bring their own bias, people come up with their own opinion. And in the near future, people are coming on internet. Okay, it's not like people are going down. With all the things going around, people are coming on internet, okay, more and more. So they're going to bring more and more biases. They're going to bring more and more, things on internet, and that's why, we need to make sure that our data is clear from all that. Okay, and I actually worked with a lot of initiatives which was centric to Indian data set. For example, languages. So if you are an Indian, you might know languages like Hindi, Marathi, and then Rangpuri, Rangbhashi. So all these languages, some of it you might have heard, but some like Rangpuri, Rangbhashi, Rangbeli, Dundari. These are the languages which are actually there. And I've also worked with a lot of. I have worked with Nigerians. I have worked with some people in Africa, and there are small groups, and they speak different languages. And yeah, so I will share my insight about how we crowdsource things and how it really works. It's very interesting. So how do we solve this bias on internet? That's a typical question which many people might ask. Okay, and the simple it generates a lot more questions, like for example, how to get the data, how to make sure you have diverse people who are contributing to your data and XYZ factors. Okay, and the answer is that you don't rely on one person to get your data. You rely on multiple person to get your data. What happens then? Because you are actually sampling your data in such a way that it is unbiased, and there are a lot of people who are willing to contribute in your research, in your work. So what you do is you give them a reward, and in that reward, it is an exchange, right? So you give them some reward, they give you their precious time of giving you data. Okay, so you can also say this has a human labeling part, but yeah, crowdsourcing is more like having systems in place. Maybe if you have systems in place and they are not working for certain type of people, okay, or they are not so much diverse, and you want to make them diverse, crowdsourcing can help you. Okay, if you're doing a research and you want data which is not biased, crowdsourcing can help you. How? Let's have a look. So a typical way of how does it work is what I want is I want a data set. What I will typically do is I will go to a person. I'll tell him that, hey man, I need a data set of people who speak Hindi language. So this guy goes to 10 number of people. He asks them for data, collects that, and gives it to me. Now, I have a data set which in which only 10 people are there. And if you talk about Hindi speaking people in India, there are around 400 million people. To be very specific, around 512 million people who speak Hindi as their first language. Okay. Now, from let's round it up to 500 million. From 500 pairs 500 million, there are 10 people. Okay, and if you talk about how biased the data will be, it's going to be really biased. So why not involve a lot of people from a lot of background, okay, and tell them to contribute, and in return we give them some reward, okay. So I'll talk about that, how the approach works. But the idea is to bring a lot of people on the table, okay, and telling them to contribute so that your data becomes more diverse and it is not just representing a specific community, okay. How does that happen? So I have a quick demo for you. Can you please open a new tab and go to menti.com and enter this code? So just go to your mobile phone, okay, and open menti.com and enter this code. The code is 758022. Okay, the code is 758022, and you have to go to menti.com. Okay, so once you go to that, you will what you will see is I have a question for you there. Okay, so let me get back and let me open my Mentimeter. Okay, so just give me a second as it loads. Okay, so I have a question for you. The question is, think of a watch. What comes to your mind first? Okay, so you have a lot of chances. So you can click two options. Okay, while selecting them. So go ahead and register your options. Okay, I will wait for around 2 minutes. So I can see a lot of people are doing that. So I'll start a countdown for 1 minute. Okay. Uh, now come on, be quick. Okay. Anyone else want to add their opinion? Go ahead and add it. The link is going to be active for 24 hours. Okay. So after that, it will be inactive. So make sure that if you're watching it later, so it will be only active till 24 hours. So yeah. Okay. So I can see a lot of options out there. Anyone more want to do that? Yes. Let me check. I'm checking my dashboard and seeing that if some more people are trying to do that. Okay. And as a result, I can see that a lot of people are biased towards a kind of a watch, uh, you know, two watches specifically. Okay, um, two watches specifically. This one, option one and option two. Okay, and they both and people don't really like maybe the digital watch or this watch or this watch. Okay, no one likes the sixth one, so sorry for that. Okay, but yeah, uh that would give me an insight that my audience, okay, they are if I consider this and make a machine learning model, I will be biased, with an opinion of one and two. Okay. Now, because we have less number of people, then that means we are not able to come up with a proper outcome. But if I pass this survey amongst around 200 people to 500 people to 10,000 people, this stats is going to change. Okay, and there are a lot of people who are going to select other options as well. And yeah, so that's how it works. You make an application, and then you ask a question, and then you provide some options. You're like, do you think there is a car inside this image? Do you think there's a red light on the signal? Do you think there's a zebra crossing? You ask simple questions, and you gather answers from the user, and then you try to implement that in your ML system. Okay, so yeah, that was a quick small demo of how crowdsourcing works in real world. We will see the case studies, and you will know how it really works in real world. Okay? So I have been crowdsourcing data for last 3 years for community now, and I have crowdsourced data from voice data to text data to images to a lot of them, and for a lot of languages. Okay, so my experience is, so people ask me, when I talk about crowdsourcing, we don't involve money. Okay, so there are organizations which take money and then they crowdsource data. Okay, we are not talking about them. Okay, we are talking about the community. We are talking about the people. Okay, we are talking about the masses, the millions and billions of people out there who are using your applications. We are not talking about agencies here. Okay, to be very specific. So how how does it work? Why would people contribute data? Why would people give their time to contribute data? You know, it's really a big question. And this question I've been asked many times when I was working as a global influencer with Google Crowdsource, where we used to collect a lot of data, within campaigns, and people were like, "How do you do that?" Okay, and the typical answer to that, "How do I do that?" is, in the next slides. So the first point is emotion. Okay, they are using that on a daily basis. Okay, they love your product. They want to use it, and they want to make sure that it works for their culture. Okay, they want to make sure that is it working for their language, is it working for their background. Okay, um, love for their culture. So people love their culture very much. Okay, people really love themselves and their culture. And if you're able to touch on that, hey man, if you are able to contribute, it is we are going to improve our product, which is in return going to be more specific to your culture for your people, and that drives people. Okay, next point, rewards. Okay, so if you're like you're like Microsoft as a company, and you're like, hey man, if you contribute, help us to improve our product for your benefit as a community benefit. Okay, I'm going to give you a zipper of Microsoft. I'm going to give you some tickets to Manus Build. I'm going to, give you some mentorship at Microsoft. Would you be happy? Uh, why not? Okay. People would be like, okay, that's a good deal. I am getting rewards and I'm helping my community. Okay. The cause is not reward. The cause is community. Okay. But rewards help. Okay. Rewards help amplify their efforts. Okay. Now, it's not just about individuals; it's about next billion users. Okay, so yeah, people with a mindset like me. So, like I started very young, at 16 and 17 years of age, and my vision is to make sure that students realize their potential when they are in their college days, and they are able to experiment so that when they are in their professional years, they don't waste that. Okay, and they experiment a lot in college, and then they come up with a skill set which is required for a professional life. Now, my vision is really big. I have that vision of impacting next billion people, next billion students, but I cannot do it alone. Now, if Google comes and says that, hey, Ali, I would like to share your vision with me, okay, you can impact the next billion ways, people through crowdsourcing. I will give you a platform where you can share your ideas. Or Microsoft comes and, they are like, okay, Ali, you are doing great work. We would like to, to give you a platform, give you a portal where you can reach out to these people so that you can achieve your vision. At the same time, you are helping the company with the crowdsourcing initiative. Then the last point is monetary. I don't really support monetary gains, because a lot of people, if you involve money, then the whole thing nullifies. Okay, because money doesn't give you that emotion. Okay, money doesn't bring that that into that I want to contribute for my community. Okay, and if you are keeping a cap that I will give you, INR 500 INR, $100, $20, $30, that might make it biased. You can actually then go to the agency instead of coming to a crowdsourcing model for a community. Okay, certificates, I do approve of that. If the user is contributing for a time, recognizing him and giving a certificate is very good. Okay, and he might be happy, and you also get your research ahead. Okay, if you want more tips, if you want to implement that in your current company, or your current scenario, some tips which I can give you. The first one is gamification. Make it like a game. Don't do it like, what this is the question, what is your opinion, this is the question, what is your opinion, can you click a photo of a keyboard for me? This doesn't make sense, right? It will be just like one way, right? You are gaming as a company. What about the user who is contributing? Gamify it, give it an experience, right? So the user comes, user sees a leaderboard, user sees badges, user sees digital rewards. So user is like, okay, I am eager to contribute. I'm eager to go to that leaderboard, and that's why I will contribute. Okay, gamify the experience. Value the contributors. Value the contributors who are contributing data. Okay, they are actually removing time to go to your portal and contribute. So value them. Okay, how to value them? Value them through different ways and different means. Okay, transparency. Make sure that your model is transparent enough that people know that why are you collecting specific data, and what are you doing with that data. Okay, if you are like, hey people, can you collect your face data and give it to me, and you're not telling them why you want that data, it's a very shady thing. Okay, you might not want to do that. You are collecting, you're crowdsourcing multiple faces, and then you're not even telling them what you're going to do with that, and it poses the risk to the community. So transparency is very important. Okay, transparency is very important. Be transparent what you're going to do with that data. Okay, open source projects. Okay, don't just leverage community for your personal gains. The data sets which you have collected, open source them. Okay, give it to people so that they can also understand that how their data collection is helping people. Okay, be community centric. Don't go like bashing the company. Yeah, we know the company is great, company is big, they are doing great, but once it comes to the community first approach. Okay, I have a lot of suggestions, a lot of tips and a lot of things to explain. Due to time constraint, I cannot complete all of them. But if you really want to, embed a crowdsourcing model into your company or your business, do reach out to me, and we will sit on a coffee if you have digital coffee in this quarantine times, and you might discuss a lot of options out there. Okay. So a very good example of an interaction bias is quick draw. So you can go to quickdraw with google.com. I will add the URL in the chat if possible. Okay. So that you are able to see that. Okay. Let me see if I can do that. I don't know if I can. Okay. Okay. So you can go, even you can quick draw it, and you can search for that. And uh, I guess I will add that in the private chat maybe. Okay. Added it there. Okay. So you can actually have this experience. So this is what I'm talking about when I talk about gamification. Okay. So the option is draw broccoli. So I okay, let's draw it. Mhm. So yeah, so it's identifying it, drawing a knee. Maybe this might look something like that. Yeah, it's an E. And then a flying saucer. So this might look good. Oh, oops. Okay. I'm bad at drawing. Okay. So please spare me with that. Okay. How does it look like? Flying saucer. Okay. That looks like it. Oh, okay. I told you I'm bad at drawing. So
Ali, you're a
let
horrible drawer.
I know. I know. Okay. It's pencil. Okay. Okay, that's a good one. Flashlight. I can draw this. Okay, come on. Okay. Uh-huh. Okay. That's this one. Okay. Mustache. Oh, that's very simple. Okay. Let me draw a few. Then and then let me add a mustache. Okay. So you can see it was a game for you, right? But at the back end, it was a data collection. Okay. So if you click on data, if you are a programmer, you can go here and you can see how people draw Apple. Okay. And I really like how people draw faces. Okay. Because yeah, this one. So I really like this one. So you can see how people draw some hair. Some people doesn't care about hair. They draw yours. Some draw yours. Some don't draw yours. And that is so diverse, right? And this is crowdsourcing. Okay, how you have gamified the experience for users. So user is actually drawing for them, but in reality, they are actually they are contributing to a bigger cause. And one thing which is very prominent is that you are collecting actually the country code where it was drawn. So I can say that this kind of face is drawn in Bahrain, and it was drawn in 2017. Okay, this kind of drawing was drawn in Australia, and it was in 2017. This kind of drawing was drawn in United States and on 2017. So that gives me an idea, right? And it gives me that when I'm using a machine learning model on top of that, it's really gonna be an awesome model because it has so diverse data set. Coming back to the presentation, this is one example. Okay, now let's see the case study. So case study where we see live companies doing that. So local guides, Google has been doing it for a very long time. Again, not to deny, Google has done that for Google local guides. Earlier, the whole platform is crowdsourced actually. Google has another application that is crowdsourcing, and that is where which I work for as a global influencer. So I was not on a payroll. Okay, to be very frank, or to be very clear, people misunderstand me as I was working as a Googler. No, I was working as a community influencer, and I was helping them with running campaigns for different kinds of data collection strategies. And I was responsible for making offline communities and expanding them in India and subordinate regions. Google Translate as well uses crowdsourcing. So earlier they had, they had manual translation of words and actually, a lot of stuff, which is actually now included into crowdsource app. So you can go and have a look, a local guide and crowdsource. And Facebook is also doing it massively. So if you are, if you go to a Facebook page and you rate it, it will ask you different opinions that do you like this, how was your experience, and so on. And they also have started crowdsourcing a lot of data from users so that they can conclude something on top of on top of that locations. And Facebook has also launched the similar model while they give rewards, digital rewards, and goodies and flags, so that they can keep engaged with the users. Microsoft has doesn't have as of now. I haven't seen a platform specifically for crowdsourcing, but they do use crowdsourcing internally for teams. As far as I've seen their last paper, they have also published a paper in 2018 regarding crowdsourcing, but they don't have a full-fledged application like Google does. Okay, so yeah, that's all from my side. So if you like the presentation, you can connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, on LinkedIn, maybe, okay, or you can just Google ILE Mustafa and you will find a lot of information about me and what I do. So if you really like it, please do connect with me. I would really be happy to chat with you. And yeah, thank you so much. That's all from my side. If you have any questions, I would be happy to take that. Yeah, thank you so much. Yep.
Thank you for a very interesting talk. I really enjoyed it. Some things I didn't think about also. For the ones who are still watching, if you have any question, please don't hesitate to throw it into YouTube chat, on Facebook, on Twitter, or via Twitch. We get all the data, so we can answer on it once we get it. So let's give them some small time, Ali. I have a question though for you. You talk
Sure,
about
go ahead.
sourcing data.
Yeah.
How are you sure that you get data from different kinds of populations?
Yeah, so actually, it depends on how you're running a campaign. So let's say when I was running a campaign for open images version v2, so for that we needed more data towards APAC region, and that's why we actually contacted local influencers in APAC region in different countries and told them that, hey man, we are running a campaign like this. Would you like to be a part of it? And then it goes on to reaching out to local influencers, and then going it to the base level. Okay. And you actually make sure the guy who's running the campaign actually make sure that it reaches to the audience which is there, because it is all organic, right? You're not paying an agency to reach out to people, so you
Mhm.
are actually doing it via community. So you have to make sure that it reaches to the people which is whom you are targeting. And yeah, and you have a cause for it, because if it is without a cause, then people don't contribute. So there has been tasks at times where I have reached out to people and they have denied on my face that we are not going to do this. And it has been times like that because it doesn't go with their cause, their community, and so they won't contribute. And that is fine. Yeah.
So yeah, you still need to put quite some effort in it
Yep.
yourself also
Yes.
to make
Yeah.
sure everyone gets it. Because yeah, if you do it, let's say a simple questionnaire, um, if it's a digital questionnaire, get it to an older population, and that will be way harder than getting it to a young generation who is computer literate. So there's a lot of work still to get data
Yes.
from
Yes.
different
So yeah, one
populations.
thing which is there is it is not a quick process. Okay.
Mm.
So it is like, so even if you're running a campaign, it might take 1 month, it might take 3 months, it might take 6 months to reach that target, because you don't really have a timeline. You're not bonding a company to it, so they are not putting. So it's like it's all community effort, and the community effort is real. So that's why it takes time to come up with the result.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. There's no questions coming in. So with that, I guess you explained everything very well, Ali.
Thank you
um,
so much.
Next week, of course, we will have another speaker, and we will have Nandip Nashan, who will talk about classifying SharePoint data or content with cognitive and sentiment analysis, so with cognitive services of Microsoft. Your host will be Dawood. It will not be me next week. So, but he will do a great job also. So, also, don't forget, if you would like to speak yourself on the Global AI Virtual or 36-hour conference in October, don't forget to register or send your paper on to globalai.live. If you can also just register as an attendee, and then you get all the latest news. Cool. So Ali, thank you very much for joining me today. It was nice to have you. We're glad everything worked out today. There was no network
Yeah.
issues. We had some comments online from people saying, awesome session, thank you. So I
Thanks.
like Ali's presentation, so that's always nice to hear. So with that, everyone, still again, have a nice day or have a good evening or a good afternoon. And we hope to see you
Yeah.
back next week. Bye-bye.
Hey, my name's Akansha Malik, and I'm from Melbourne.
Exit Sami with Val here.
Hi, I'm Alan Smith.
Hi, I'm Amy.
Hey, neighbor test. I come from
I'm
Spain.
Prasant from California.
大家好，我是卢建辉。My name is Lance.
I'm Fakasi from Australia.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Marsman from the United States.
Hi, I'm Arpita Gupta from India.
Hi, I'm Matthew Renton from the USA.
I'm Joe Spizak from California.
Hi, Midi Eddie Daoud, East Africana.
Hi, I'm Mustufa.
Merhaba, ben Türkiye'den Daronya'dan.
Hi.
Hi.